Paula G. Voice, aka Lady Wisdom After Midnight. So you want to be in radio. Have you ever thought about a career in radio? A question I was asked years ago while working for the YMCA. During the spring of each year, I would be asked to promote the summer camp program on the local morning talk shows, as well as the morning drive time radio. It never failed. After each show, I was always asked the question as to whether or not I had considered a career in radio. At the time, I had 2 small children, an active duty husband, and a full-time position as program director. While the daydream lingered, the reality never manifested. It was not until years later when the question was asked again. This time, the reality manifested. It was late summer, and I was a member of the board of a nonprofit organization that teaches our youth the power of giving back to our community. This particular organization holds an annual fundraiser for the youth. And as a member of the board, I was engaged in the events of the day. However, I noticed the area where the media was located. A particular gentleman caught my eye as he was conducting live interviews. I went about my duties, but later returned to find him sitting at his station. I went over and introduced myself and inquired about his network, and he introduced himself as the CEO of Survival Radio Network. And he'd asked if I'd be willing to interview and share with the audience my role at the foundation. This was the beginning of my journey to becoming Paula G. Clark Garrison, who would become my brother, my mentor, my friend, and collaborator over the next several years. He gave me the opportunity to have a radio show on his network. He taught me how to develop a quality radio program. He was a major influence in my radio career. He was passionate, dedicated, and focused on building a media platform. Survival Radio Network was birthed out of an economic downfall. Clark was in the real estate industry, an industry that crashed in 2008. This was a season for him to embark on an industry that intrigued him. He developed his own network and called it Survival Radio Network to reflect his surviving the real estate industry. Mentorship is such a valuable relationship. A mentor pours so much into the mentee: wisdom, experience, training, knowledge. This solid foundation in media helped to develop my brand and foundation in media myself. Knowledge and experience gained has opened doors of opportunity of which I have graciously walked through. So how did I get to where I am in radio? One step at a time. Practice makes perfect. If you want to become well-versed in something, you must practice. If you want to become well-versed in something, you must learn everything you need to learn about that something. Learn, practice, act. So what are some things to consider when thinking about your own radio show? Here are 10 things you need to consider when developing a radio show. Number 1, the concept. What ideas do you have? What do you feel would be a great idea that you could talk about? What experiences have you had that you could shape and develop for radio programming? Number 2, your platform. Which radio platform will you use? There are many platforms upon which you can broadcast a radio show. Survival Radio Network utilized Blog Talk Radio as their platform. Google, make a list and search each platform and see which one works best for you. Number 3, boundaries. What will you discuss on your show? What are some topics that you absolutely will not discuss? You must decide where you draw the line. Number 4, time and day. Here's where the commitment comes in. Rain, shine, snow, sleet, hail, a cold, a headache, or a plain old "I don't feel like it" can all hinder you from broadcasting. Each show is a command to your audience. It's a commitment to your audience. Your audience expects to hear you each week of the day on that day and time that you have established as showtime. Make sure you can make the commitment for the long run. Number 5, longevity. Does your concept have longevity, or is it just the hot topic of the moment and interest will wane? Give this some thought. Give it some thought to how long you want to be engaged as a radio show host. Is this just a hobby, or are you in it for the long haul? Guests or not? Can you carry a topic for 30 to 60 minutes, or do you need to book guests each week? Music. Will you have commercial breaks in which you will play music? You will need to consider the ASCAP policies and all of the other policies, the copyright laws, all the legalities. Artists' music has been playing on a variety of platforms for years without artist compensation. That is changing, and you will need to be well versed on the process before playing music on your show. Number 8, opening and closing. Do you have a custom opening and closing? What will you open your show with and close your show with? What you open your show with and close your show with, that makes a difference. So think about it, because both have lasting impressions. Number 9, logo. You can probably think of a couple of radio shows that when you see the logo, you automatically know whose show it is. Consider a logo that reflects your show concept and reflects you. And number 10, co-host. Some work, some don't. Consider which would work best given your topic and your own personal preference. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, but it is definitely a start. Radio is a great platform for your voice to be heard. If you have a voice, if you have something to say, consider having your own radio show and embrace the journey. I am Paula G. Voice. I'm a sagacious, independent lifestyle influencer. I'm embracing my own journey and I'm sharing experiences along the way. I'm challenging dreamers to do the same by breathing life into that deferred dream and living out the reality. It's never too late to embrace your journey and live your dreams. Visit Paula's blog at www.paulagvoice.com for the full journey.